Welcome everyone back to Spoiler Warning, featuring myself, Tom Colohue. We are, as always, talking wrestling today, so the graps and the claps and whatever else you want to call it. We are in the wonderful world, the insanity that is pro wrestling, and we have plentiful news to discuss in that time. So, we are going to be starting today by talking about the Usos being firmly back inside the tag division. We're going to talk Rhea Ripley being kept away from the championships. We're going to talk why we're seeing as much of Logan Paul at the moment as we are. We're going to talk Grayson Waller, and yes, I will say he has been wearing a mask recently, but he's not been the only one. We're going to talk Maxine Dupri. We're going to talk Bron Breakker, particularly a conversation he's had to have with CM Punk and AJ Lee because of some of the things he's been saying backstage that made their way back to Punk. There are a number of body slam reports we're going to discuss, primarily because you know how this goes. What the hell? We're also going to be talking about Travis Scott, Austin Theory, Donald Trump making an appearance at WWE, and PWInsider's report that there are going to be some surprises at Saturday night's main event. Now, if my tone did not betray my intention there, it may not surprise you to hear that when someone reports there's going to be surprises, me, Tom Colohue, gets a little annoyed at the whole concept of wrestling journalism. So, that's where we are. That's what we're doing. That's what we're diving into. We're going to be going into great detail as to the wonder that is shows, and we are also, right now, available on Shorts, apparently, which is news to me. I didn't know that was something that the YouTube system was comfortable with, but apparently it's really comfortable with it, because it's literally just done it side by side for me. A little bit horizontal. I've got a cherry coke. We're going to go into our top story, and then we're going to catch up with the chat, see what people are saying. Be sure to hit like if you haven't already, and of course, jump in, say hi when you can. The Usos are firmly back in the tag division. This is something that the WWE have been working towards for several months now. They're going to be in the tag division until they're ready to move Jey Uso into a heel singles program. I got all over there twisted. Into a heel singles program. Triple H has essentially been told that the Raw tag division needed a reboot, so he's immediately gone back to the Usos versus the New Day. There are some in WWE, not least main event Jey Uso himself, who are said to not be the happiest with this. It is a significant drop down for Jey Uso, but I do feel the promo cut on Raw is very telling of the WWE's long-term intentions here. Jey Uso is not going to be out of the main event scene for too long, but he will be out of it long enough to make an impact that supports the tag division currently playing, and of course also supports Jimmy in his development. So there is a lot going on when it comes to Jey Uso. He's not said to be particularly happy, but that does fit the overall character that he's going for, who is naturally going to be disappointed at being, and I quote, held down by his brother Jimmy. So they are in the tag division as Triple H begins yet another tag division reboot. This had to be the 5th or 6th now. Bear with me 1 second. The SmackDown tag division has been doing very good things recently. The Raw tag division has been at best disappointing, and that's been the case pretty much since Triple H took over. It's hurt the overall interest, it's hurt the overall product, and hopefully he can make it work soon, because I feel like when you've got AJ Styles in a division, it has to work. We have plenty more that we're going to talk about. Be sure to hit like as you join the show. Views are going up as we speak, and the chat rate's still absolutely popping off. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to catch you with the chat now, see where we are. Liam says, per WrestleVotes, Bron Breakker is currently the top favourite of WWE Creative to win the 2026 Men's Royal Rumble match. This was also reported by Wrestling Observer. This was also reported by myself a week and a half ago. Declan says hit the subscribe button, and if you haven't already, please do consider doing so. If this is your first time watching, if for example you've popped up on the Shorts feed, check us out. We do a lot of stuff here. It's well worth it. Liam says it's official. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar are both advertised for Royal Rumble 2026 in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Yeah, neither of them have any issue with the Saudi deal, and in fact, Brock Lesnar is very well looked after. He's, what can I say, bathed in gold over there. Mick says, hi Tom, hope you're fine. Will you talk about the rumoured surprises for tomorrow? I will discuss the report on rumoured surprises. We'll see how that goes. Liam says the Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre feud is set to continue with another match taking place very soon. We'll be discussing the Mystery Man. Liam says it's been reported that AJ Lee's next WWE match will be in the Women's Royal Rumble on January 31st, 2026. This will be AJ Lee's first Rumble match ever, and that is via WrestleVote's Q&A, which I believe is now hosted behind the Fightful paywall. This is interesting, because it does suggest that the WrestleMania match will no longer be Becky Lynch versus Stephanie Vaquer, and could instead then be Rhea Ripley versus Stephanie Vaquer. The suggestion seems to be that AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch might make more sense before then, but I do see a world in which AJ Lee and Becky Lynch next meet in the Elimination Chamber, or in fact, as makes perfect sense, the Royal Rumble. Liam also says there's reportedly no set run time for Saturday night's main event this weekend, so everyone on the card will get all the time they need. Ooh, still plenty. Liam says this is via Body Slam. Plans for Seth Rollins and the Vision upon Rollins' return have been slightly discussed already. Slightly discussed. What the hell does the phrase slightly discussed mean? It will come down to timing and when Rollins is ready to return. Yeah, of course it will. There's no slight on you, Liam. I appreciate you bringing the news in. But when I see reports like this from Body Slam, what the hell is this? Like, seriously. What they're saying is, yeah, WWE know that they'll have to consider plans when Seth returns. Yeah, of course they do. Ugh. Sean says, hello, Tom. Hello, Sean. Thank you, Mick, for renewing your channel support status. I do appreciate it. Liam says, per PWInsider, CM Punk is currently slated to appear at this weekend's Saturday night's main event. My immediate question is why? With the matches currently planned, I don't really understand what he would be hoping to achieve other than just sort of getting out there and getting involved. But for who? And with who? And why? Bob Dowie says, AI said John Cena versus CM Punk, Raw, February 25th, 2013, and Cena versus AJ Styles, Royal Rumble 2017, as top contenders for his greatest match. Do you agree with AI? No, because if the WWE has taught me one thing, it's that the greatest ever wrestling match took place in an empty arena between Randy Orton and Edge. It was, as we know, the greatest wrestling match ever. Dave says, I don't see the New Day saving the Raw Tag Division, but the New Day and the Usos have previously done so. Liam says, per WrestleVotes, WWE set to host a PLE in Italy on Sunday, May 31st, 2026, at the Inalpi Arena in Turin. Ooh. We're going to get an updated look, apparently, as well. Set to debut an updated look for this weekend Saturday night main event, moving to a more modern PLE-style presentation instead of the retro throwback vibe fans have gotten. That's via Fightful. Sean says, John Cena confirmed on the Pat McAfee show he and Gunter are closing Saturday night's main event. That would certainly fly in the face of all of the reporting, and my God, there's so much of it, reporting that he'll be opening the show instead. Liam says, working plans for 26 could potentially be the WWE retirement runs for Brock Lesnar, AJ Styles, and potentially Chris Jericho if he signs. That's via the Wrestling Observer. Brock Lesnar is looking to retire relatively soon. He only had a year left on his contract when he returned, so I didn't expect him to be staying. Reports that he signed a new deal were completely inaccurate. Completely. Liam says the injury angle on Raw was designed to keep LA Knight off TV for a while. That's been disputed already by the Wrestling Observer. Declan says, I don't want AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. Yeah, you want Becky Lynch in essentially a fatal 5-way elimination match with all of the women's championships on the line. I know. Juan says, looks like my friend who was looking forward to seeing his last match will be asking for a refund. He told me if Trump was there, he was not going. Why do you think the news hasn't gone out yet? They know whether or not Donald Trump is going. They know. Okay? It's out because they're worried that the people who like Trump won't turn up if he's not there, and people who hate Trump won't turn up if he is there. That's the divisive nature of the United States presidency. Thank you, Juan. Appreciate that. Bismo says, having a cherry coke while watching, so cheers to you, Tom. And cheers to you too, Bismo. Michael, most people in WWE, unfortunately, are completely behind Jey Uso as a singles competitor. Completely. Regardless of some of the unfortunate moments he's so far had. Liam says WWE is expected to give the SmackDown roster a little bit of a boost when they made the move back to 3 hours. WWE is aware the brand desperately needs help on the creative. This is again via Body Slam, and to be clear, it's only as true as they've already done so. They're not planning to move anyone to SmackDown, they're just planning to continue the split. Liam says, tonight on SmackDown celebrates Cena's career one night before his final match. He won't be there. Cody segment, Ilya Dragunov versus Tommaso Ciampa for the United States Championship, and the Terror Twins versus Alistair and Zelina. Sean says, Joe Hendry was asked why he chose to sign with WWE. He said he signed to become a better wrestler. Mega D says, good evening, Tom. How are you doing? Asuka on Kanachan TV is asking Bayley to stop playing nice and start going off. She may indeed get her wish. Liam says, John Cena said because of pivots to plans this year, he got to wrestle Ron Killings, wasn't originally intended. Randy Orton was originally intended. AJ Styles was originally intended. Brock Lesnar wasn't originally intended. And Dominic Mysterio, which he wanted but wasn't originally intended. Declan says, hit the like button, everyone. And please do, if you haven't already, have a quick check, because so far, 46 people here, only the 12 likes. And you can like on both the live on YouTube main and the live on shorts as well. So you can hit a quick like. It does guarantee more viewers and quite a bit more. So please do consider hitting that thumbs up if you haven't already. Liam says, per PWInsider, Kevin Owens and Natalya have been cast as mentors for season 3 of WWE LFG. I've been speaking for a while about Natalya's future with the WWE, and Natalya's future with the WWE is essentially as a coach, first and foremost. This is just a confirmation of that. As regards Kevin Owens, they're not sure when he'll be back, so they're giving him something to do that they can pay him for in the meantime. It's a good thing. It's a very good thing. Hello, Marcel. Good to see you. Ashley says, will The Rock appear at Cena's final match? No, I don't believe he has any intention of coming in. Drive-by says, evening, Tom. Have you seen the new teaser trailer for Street Fighter with Roman and Cody? Looks like it will be fun. I have not yet, but I will, after this, go and have a look. Ray will not be watching the Usos. Says it was the same rubbish as it was back in the day. Well, not much has changed, and I imagine we'll get very similar, but I've got to say, I really enjoyed those matches. Seemed to be in a minority here, but I really enjoyed them. Bailey, when or if London gets will depend entirely on the UK government. At the moment, it is a Labour government, and they are simply not interested, pardon me, in bidding for WWE. Personally, I do think that's a little short-sighted. AEW in Wembley brought a lot into the London economy. Just a lot. So hopefully they're able to sort that out and make it work. Thank you for that heads up, Mega D side. Let me see what I can do about that. Close some background programs. Hopefully it's not going to be a long-term issue. If anyone else has encountered any problems so far with the stream stuttering, please do let me know. Backwards says, do you see Roman dethroning Cody at Mania? Difficult to say at this point. I'm not sure. Dave says, do you think John Cena should win his retirement match? No, under no circumstances. He wants to go out on his back, and that is his way of giving back. Declan says, it feels like they're dragging Becky versus AJ Lee. It's going to last forever, like CM Punk and Seth Rollins have feuded since CM Punk's return. Christopher Leclerc says, according to Wrestling, Ruka versus Bayley will main event Saturday night's main event tomorrow night. Interesting, because according to John Cena, he will be. Eric says, sourced by what culture? I forgot the actual source. Appreciate it. LA Knight will have a much better 30-26. Well, if the guy lives till 30-26, yeah, he's having a great time. Ray says, Matt Cardona got injured on last night's TNA Impact. He will not be in a steel cage match for NXT versus TNA. On next week's TNA Impact show, Santino Marella mounts. I don't want to be mounted by Santino Marella. Not for me. Not for me. People's Wrestling channels to say, Tom, my name's Ricky, can I get a shout out? Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Welcome Ricky to the show. Christopher Leclerc says, Alexa Bliss versus Lash Legend tonight on SmackDown. Calvin says, I can see them giving John more time than they gave Goldberg, and the closing of the broadcast being similar to Ric Flair's retirement closing segment in '08. What do you think? I think Ric Flair, his retirement has dragged on for so long that he's in fact still wrestling. So, yeah, that's a lot of time. Sean says, in his interview released by WWE, John Cena said he signed a 5-year ambassador deal. This has already been reported by me, the Tom Colohue channel. Good to have it confirmed, and I appreciate you, John Cena, for saying it. OG Hector says, evening, Tom. Hope you and the family are well. They are indeed. Where do you see this whole Liv Morgan Judgment Day situation playing out? I can see a huge face turn for Liv Morgan because everyone loves Liv. A face turn for Liv Morgan is the plan. And it seems like Dominic Mysterio might be following her out of Judgment Day and into the pantheon of good guys. And honestly, I'm there for it. I am absolutely there for it. At the moment, the storyline is essentially Liv Morgan is playing Big Sister, a role which she plays very suitably. I think even the fact that physically she is a slightly taller and slightly more buff version of a Roxanne in some ways, just like build and overall shape of the body, it does look very Big Sister, about to throw the toys out of the pram and start taking stuff from Little Sister. Doesn't help that she kept calling Raquel sister. Which brings to mind Eurovision. Michael says, I enjoyed the New Day versus the Usos. It's got to be time to move on. Sean says, I'm a fan of AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. It's better than both women being left off the card. Ray, thank you, says, I've only stood once for me. Perfect after that. Sean says, no shade to Oba, but I think Ricky versus Cody would be a great match. I wish they would have done that match. That would then result in accusations of nepotism. Bailey says, does the former Cora Jade return to wrestling in 26? Yes, I believe she will. Sean thinks better Liv as a face than Roxanne. Yeah, Roxanne's a really good heel. Really good. Liam says, I genuinely can't believe WWE chose to have Cena for 36 dates when he said he wanted to take the year off and do WWE. They could have had him for about 70 days and had the feud we wanted, like Drew, etc. Oh, Ray, I've never watched any Juggalo Championship Wrestling. The entire Juggalo concept, not for me, unfortunately. I'm not personally a fan. Next up, Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley is being kept away from gold, and this attempt to do so has been considered a major success. WWE go through phases of this, where they think a wrestler has reached a certain level and they don't necessarily want to give that wrestler too much more of a push when other wrestlers, like a Jade Cargill, like a Tiffany Stratton, like Stephanie Vaquer, could instead get the push and start coming up towards their level. You've seen Becky Lynch do this non-stop. She's constantly in and out of the main event scene, and you'll see it with Bianca Belair when she eventually does return. Now, the WWE are intent on bringing Ripley back to the main event scene in 2026. There's a match with Jade Cargill that's been discussed, potentially for the championship, but the entire tag team of Io Sky is not likely to last beyond WrestleMania. The WWE in 2026 want Rhea Ripley to be a big name again, so that she can then pass some of that capital on to newer names like Stephanie Vaquer. There's a reason we're seeing so much more Logan Paul right now than we have done in his entire time in the WWE so far. Logan Paul's contract, which he signed this year, has extra dates attached to it, and they need wrapping up by year end. He's been consistently unavailable to the WWE. He's been consistently not listening to requests to get in and work. And essentially, if he doesn't work all the weeks he can now, he will be in breach of contract. So that's why we're seeing him every single week. WWE not said to have been too unhappy with him in general, but certainly if he had skipped out on any of these dates, there absolutely would have been an issue. Liam says, as regards I imagine this is Rhea, until she beats Vakura Mania and wins the gold. Says, I think Clash at the Colosseum would be a good name for the Italy show in May. I like that. People's Wrestling Channel says, how long have you been reporting in wrestling now? Since 2013. 2013 is when I started working with PWTorch. Way back when. Sent a few emails to the right address. Pitched a couple of ideas. One of them got some interest, the Roman Reigns-ometer. And the rest is history. It was, I think, 2018 when I became quite well known in the field. Because that The Rock would be working with Becky Lynch on the Fox debut. So the first show on Fox, might be 2019 to be honest, it was The Rise of the Man. But that's when I started getting sort of major attention. Started appearing in a lot of different publications. And yeah, it's been a wild ride. Mega D side, I've asked the chat here. At the moment, you seeing that problem. I've done what I can. Please let me know if you're able to refresh and it improves, or if anyone else does have any problem, they will let me know. But so far, nobody's really raised it. Bailey says, Tom, how would you book Julia in 26? She's going nowhere on SmackDown as of late, and Kiana James doesn't add anything. First, the WWE expect her to learn English to a satisfactory level. And yeah, so far, unfortunately, the WWE don't believe she's been able to do that. Thank you, Declan, for confirming there is some stuttering still taking place. I will continue to see what I can do. The People's Wrestling Channel says, are you going to AEW in Wednesday? No, I live in Blackpool in the UK, so AEW is not really an option for me. Liam says, Randy Orton confirms he'll be at SmackDown before the Rumble and the Rumble. We're never getting Cody Randy. You're definitely getting Cody Randy. They want it too much. And when you want something that bad, you always get it. You always get it. Hector says, did you see they had more Natty promos on Raw? Do you see her actually using the gimmick in WWE going forward? Or is this a one-off for Maxine and their story? Badass Natty with a title could be fun. Let's talk about that, because that is actually one of my next pieces. This Natalya character, the use of the dungeon concept and the use of the trainer concept, is something that the WWE have been working on for a while. WWE simply aren't that interested in having Natalya step into the ring anymore. And for many reasons, she's not all that interested herself. So her new contract, her latest contract, is for a coaching position rather than a wrestling position. She's essentially already moved to a Legends contract. As regards Maxine Dupri, Natalya is currently working to develop her because the WWE have some decisions to make. Natalya's one-on-one coaching for Maxine Dupri is bearing fruit, and Maxine Dupri is said to be improving in the ring, but WWE still aren't confident enough to keep her as Intercontinental Champion for long. A rematch with Becky Lynch is incoming, and at the moment, the winner comes down to how much Maxine is able to improve beforehand. It is likely at this point in time that Becky Lynch at some point reclaims the Intercontinental Championship and then takes that into the match with AJ Lee to lose at WrestleMania. Another bit I have on that before I move back to the chat. Grayson Waller at the moment is completely lost. Completely. He was under a mask this week, which was funny, primarily because he just found it ironic given that Austin Theory wasn't under the mask. New Day are said to be pushing hard for more inclusion of Grayson Waller, pushing hard for his comedy work, and Xavier Woods does believe he can get fans really hating Grayson Waller and really passionately against him in the same way he did with Kofi Kingston. However, it's not really been going well so far, and while Grayson Waller is doing what he can to maintain relevance, Grayson Waller's supporters in WWE Creative don't number too many right now. Through no fault of his own, the numbers just aren't really in his favour. Will, welcome. It says, funny how Logan Paul confirmed your report of him, Travis Scott and Cena versus Cody and the Usos at Money in the Bank. I will be touching on that one, but yes, another report of mine confirmed. I get that. Ricky said I wouldn't be able to hold in any rumours if I got them. I would find it very hard. I don't find it that difficult, to be honest. Not many of the people I know watch wrestling. So it's only when I go live that I can really share it. What can I say? I'm a fan. The peak, as it were, is still interviewing Triple H. And the pictures are very much out there if you'd like to see them. Dave Strummer says, what happened to your YouTube show with Nick Barbatti? So Nick and Tom's Intercontinental Adventure wasn't a YouTube show. It was a VIP show. No, it was originally a VIP show, and then it was part of the daily cast for PWTorch. So that's what it was. It ended because ultimately I decided to step away from PWTorch, focus on my own things, and get a bit of time back to work on my own stuff. Got a family, got a house. My priorities changed. I really enjoyed it. I still have a lot of time for Nick. I still have a lot of respect for him. And I've got to say, pardon me, I was incredibly proud of the Intercontinental Adventure. I was incredibly proud of the impact it had. I was incredibly proud of how many people spoke to me about enjoying it and how many people have asked about it since it went. I really enjoyed it. Bailey says, of all the talks about future WWE retirements, how many years has Randy Orton got left in him? Well, he said 10 2 years ago. So Calvin says it was reported that Randy Orton won't be attending Cena's final match. Who reported that? Eric says, what does Liv do for Mania? I think she wins the Rumble. I do not think she wins the Rumble. I think she wrestles Roxanne Perez. People says, I've always wanted to write for a wrestling website but wouldn't know how to even get started. There are plenty of websites out there that you can send an email to and they will certainly consider it. There are plenty of people dying for the opportunity to get more writing staff. You will be working volunteer. I worked volunteer my entire time in PWTorch. But what I will say on that is that if you want to get your foot in the door, working volunteer is certainly not a bad thing. Do some writing, get your name out there, see who else is interested in picking you up. Marielle says, hello Tom, any news on what is next for Roman Reigns since he's not scheduled until the Rumble? And what if any are plans for his next rival in WWE? Well, the reports are that he's going to be competing to take on Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. That suggests an Elimination Chamber win for Roman Reigns. So I think he returns at the Rumble, and then he's pretty much there every week until Mania. Mike says, I had no idea folks didn't like the Usos or the New Day. They're two of the top 7 tag teams ever. Top 7 is an interesting one. You don't often get people rating their top 7 of things. Liam, he's been wearing the mask, but he wasn't the man under the mask. It wasn't Montez Ford. It was not Montez Ford. Ray says, I'm loving all the podcasts Natalya has done over the last couple of months. She's more of an ambassador now. As I say, she's essentially working a Legends contract. Liam says, move Waller to the US Tag Division. Imagine the banger he can have with Dragunov. Calvin says, all I can say about Waller is what goes around comes around. It won't get any better if Theory joins the Vision. No, it will not. Hector says, what's your opinion on this Mystery Vision member storyline? It's not doing anything for me personally. Seen the Mystery Man many times over and it never lives up. I see this doing the same. Got it. Interesting question. I don't like it because I don't think it fits the Vision. It makes the Vision look cowardly when historically that hasn't been their thing. Declan's excited to see Becky in Star Trek. Thank you for the source there, Calvin. Ray says NXT Stacks won the TNA International Championship for Steve Macklin at TNA Final Resolution. No, Marcel, we will not be doing a watch-along for Saturday Night Main Event. Christopher Leclerc believes Bianca Belair is winning the Royal Rumble. No, Bailey, we will... I'm always writing something. So... always worth saying. At the moment, there's no irons in the fire, but I'm always writing something. So I've been working on a couple of things over the last few weeks. They're not necessarily for public consumption, but what can I say? I'm enjoying it. Liam says, just imagine when they had Pretty Deadly and Lucha Bros To the Raw Tag Division, they are well and truly back. New Day versus Usos versus AJ Lee versus Lucha Bros 4-way ladder tag for the titles. Book it. Bob Dowie says, do you think 2025 has been the worst year for WWE? No. I've seen much worse. I've been there for much worse. Mikkel, there was a concept put forward about unifying the championships for WrestleMania. It is still under consideration at this point. Yes, Bob Dowie, I do believe it's on YouTube. The previous ones have been. Eesh, fun. Marcel says, who do you have as Rumble winners? Well, I mean, all the reports are suggesting Bron Breakker, and I've spoken about that previously. For the women's elimination chamber, Declan, I still have Becky. Hector says, when you watch the Street Fighter trailer, you might get a chuckle at Cody's look, because he's definitely gone full Guile, and it's hilariously good. I cannot wait for the hair. Only thing everyone knows about Guile is his hair is ridiculous. Bron Breakker arranged a meeting, a clandestine meeting between himself, Triple H, AJ Lee and CM Punk, so that Bron Breakker could pitch some concepts for his promos to CM Punk and AJ Lee. Punk and Breakker are said to be very happy working together, but we can assume this is true because, to a degree, CM Punk actually has the power to veto who he does and doesn't want to work with. So when Bron Breakker said he was going to take CM Punk's title and his wife, let it be known that Bron Breakker had made a point of asking if that was an okay thing to say well before he said it. Well before he said it. We now get to the point of the show in which I will definitely be highlighting on Monday for the podcast during the Wrestling Receipt section. Body Slam report that we'll see another match between Rhodes and McIntyre, and this will have, and I quote, significant storyline implications. What the hell sort of reporting is this? The planned match will happen. It will be important for reasons I'm refusing to tell you, but regardless, we'll still victory lap about it afterwards. What the hell does significant storyline implications mean? Or is it just a buzzword? A cliche? A scoop? Body Slam also reported that LA Knight is going to get a big push because he's viewed as a top star in WWE. They don't say who views him as a top star because based on booking, it's nobody with any say in the matter. LA Knight is exactly where he's always been. Just below serious championship consideration. He's had a lot of championship opportunities. It's never changed. It's not going to change. It's not going to change at all. LA Knight has always been this close to the championship, but also this far away from the championship. If there's a big push planned, the only way he can be pushed is with the gold. And also, Body Slam say Bron Breakker is considered to be WWE's next big star. Duh. I spoke about this weeks ago. Look, I don't mean to be reductive to Body Slam, but I'm also watching the show. And I started to think, hey, this Bron Breakker guy, I feel like WWE quite like him. I don't know, guys. What a scoop. What a scoop. Mega D side says Bianca Belair to win the 2026 Royal Rumble. Good shout, to be honest. Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill seems the obvious choice. And Rhea Ripley to win the Elimination Chamber. Yep, gets us exactly where the WWE might well be going. Marielle says, could we get a heel Roman back? Not anymore. Not anymore. Ray says, I'd love to see TNA wrestlers in the Royal Rumble 2026. You likely will. There's been TNA wrestlers in the last 2 Royal Rumbles to my recollection. Liam says, how do you see the Punk-Bron match going, and do you see an upset with Bron winning? No. I see Bron being beaten, losing his mind, not getting a rematch, and then spending months forcing a rematch. Calvin says, do you really believe WWE sees Knight as a top star? No. Body Slam does. I do not. Okay. Eric says he's bored of Rhea, Charlotte, Becky getting opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. Let's talk through who's actually got the gold at the moment, shall we? So we've got Stephanie Vacker. She's not getting opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. She's just turned up. Just turned up. We have Jade Cargill. She's not getting opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. She's not Becky or Charlotte or Rhea. Who else we got? Chelsea Green. Not those three women. No. Maxine Dupri. No, not those three women. Not at all. Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily go that far myself. I can see that a bit further down you've said, I mean WrestleMania specifically. And it is true that WWE tends to go back towards their big names come WrestleMania time. However, WrestleMania is an advert. It's a commercial. WrestleMania is not for wrestling fans. WrestleMania is for non-wrestling fans. So that's why they'll always put the big names on the show. Christopher Leclerc says, I see Roxanne Perez winning the Women's World Championship next year. Declan says, could we get face Becky Lynch back? Yes, but not for a while. Liam says, LA Knight battled through an unspecified sickness on this week's Raw, but still went on to perform. That's via Fightful Select. Well, hopefully it's not contagious, because he was up close and personal with a lot of men. Marielle, what's your source? Bailey says, did Drew McIntyre's WWE run peak at Clash at the Castle? He now seems at the same level as LA Knight. No, because he has been champion. I think the big peak was his big long championship run. But yeah, right now he's at the exact same spot as LA Knight. No, Bob, I don't watch LFG, but let's effing go. Why not? Works for me. Logan Paul has confirmed my reporting about Travis Scott joining he and Cena against a team of babyfaces. He also confirmed that Travis Scott simply didn't turn up, which I wasn't able to report as I didn't know that. I thought he'd been pulled. But yeah, turns out he just didn't turn up. That would always be the end of any wrestler ever wanting to work with you. Always. Marielle says, when is Drew going to be doing his new movie? Filming has already started, to my knowledge. He's got a relatively small part, so he should be able to do it relatively quickly. I'll need to look up the details. I've not got them to hand at the moment. Christopher says, I didn't watch season 1 or 2 of LFG. Liam says, there are currently more than 860,000 people in the queue for Royal Rumble 2026 tickets in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. This is insane. And, hilariously, imagine how many of them are planning to sell those tickets straight back. Liam says, per WrestleVotes, Jesse the Body Ventura is set to return on this week's Saturday night main event for John Cena's farewell match. Eric says, what is the issue the WWE has with giving Knight the championship? Is it that he got over on his own? No, because he didn't get over on his own. He got over with Triple H supporting him. He did not get over on his own. What I will say, there is no particular issue. They just feel that there are currently better options elsewhere. They're trying to build the future. LA Knight, unfortunately, has come into the dance a little late. Hector says, I love when the internet thinks WWE is burying or not pushing LA Knight. I don't think a man that has to be taken out by a whole faction and is over as anyone else is getting buried, just saying. I agree. Liam says, per Body Slam, WWE officials are reportedly very high on Lash Legend. So what you're telling me is that WWE officials are very high on someone that they put into a War Games match. Wow, imagine. Can you believe it? Liam says Netflix has officially announced WWE Unreal Season 2 will premiere on January 20th. The upcoming season will feature Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, Cody Rhodes, Rhea Ripley, Pat McAfee. There's a comma, so I'd imagine there's more names, but I think he just ran out of space. WWE asked Austin Theory to stay home this week during Raw to try and confuse the image of the masked man and make people think it might not be him. It didn't work. This is unfortunately one of those moments when the dirt sheets are really working against WWE. Everyone knows who this is. Everyone knew who it was beforehand. Like, I've mentioned the Austin Theory element to it. I've mentioned he's going to be rejoining the Vision. Fact is, he only didn't join War Games because they were waiting on Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins got injured. So, yeah. Got awkward, and it got awkward fast. But hey, thankfully, Drew McIntyre was available. You can now bet money on whether Donald Trump will be in attendance for John Cena's final match. WWE has kept a space ready just in case, but are not willing to commit one way or the other to anyone at this point. It remains to be seen what happens. But a major sticking point for Donald Trump is whether or not he'll be able to invite his good friend Vince McMahon to be on camera with him. And PWInsider have said that there might be some surprises at Saturday night main event. They didn't commit. They didn't say what those surprises were. They didn't even say if there'd be a lot. They just said there may be some surprises. PWInsider are usually much better than this, but again, magnificent reporting. Truly a work of art. Liam says, how do you see Coda Ober doing? Do you see Drew getting involved? Potentially, though I do think Cody Rhodes is going to win the match. Liam says there are currently 2 people portraying the Mystery Man. The one who appeared at the end of last night's Raw is believed to be Montez Ford. Paul Heyman is reportedly a fan of Montez. He is. Eric says, with Backlash being in Italy next year, do you see Julia being in a top match of her being a star and her being Italian? No, WWE don't really do that. Hector says, wait, Tom, you're saying it isn't Chris Jericho? Whoever created that rumour shouldn't be allowed to report news, just saying. I was not aware of that rumour. I only see things that come from legitimate sources because I don't go on X. And the wonderful illegitimacy that is. Bailey says, what is WWE going to do with all the talent at NXT that seem to never move up after 4 or more years? They're going to either let them go or let people go that they can then replace. Calvin, Batista would not go to a WWE show if there is even the slightest chance that Donald Trump is going to be there. He simply wouldn't go. Calvin, it was indeed Austin Theory at Survivor Series. Right, guys, that has been the show. Been live for 45 minutes and shared plenty of news. No, Liam, Taker and Sean should never come back. I'm going to wrap it up there. We will be live. We will have our podcast on Monday and be live on Friday as usual with our new weekly cycle. Hopefully, we'll see you all then, and hopefully, we'll have sorted out this damn stuttering. So, I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic, and I'll see you all very soon.